You're listening to the Sports Central Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Central Podcast. I'm Jaime Maggio here with our guest today, Rodney Peete. USC fans remember you well. Football fans know you well. Anyone that follows Magic Johnson's social media also knows you well.
Yeah. I ride his coattails.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? I would too if I could.
Hey, whatever you can do.
So let's talk about you landing in Los Angeles. This is like 1984.
Yeah.
Right? When you go to play football at USC. Take me back to the USC in the 80s. What was that like?
Wow. If James, if there were NIL back in the 80s, we would have broke the bank.
Yes.
we would have broke the bank. No, I'm joking, but I'm not.
I know you're not.
No,
I know you're not. I don't know how much you want to lean into that, but I would love to hear.
I'm not. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But no, 80s were great. You know, it was a time at USC that they were going through a little bit of a lull. There was a probation period for a couple of years, and you know, coming off of the great 70s that USC had, and trying to restore everything that was all about USC. And I got recruited by the school, and I knew the history. My dad was a football coach, and my dad coached at the University of Arizona for 20 years. And he was a player there, he coached there. I was a ball boy there. I grew up in Tucson as a Wildcat fan. That's what I grew up. But at the end of the day, when Arizona joined the Pac-10 at the time, USC and UCLA were schools that I was infatuated with. And I couldn't believe that this WAC conference school, Arizona, now was in the Pac-10, and we would get to play them on a regular basis. Even though I was a University of Arizona fan, I loved USC. I loved everything about it. I remember Anthony Davis against Notre Dame. I remember all the Rose Bowls that USC played in against Michigan and Ohio State. And my dad, who was slotted to recruit Los Angeles. He was the Los Angeles recruiter for the University of Arizona. So he would come over and he would tell me stories about all the players out of LA that he lost out on. And like we had to get the leftovers from USC and UCLA to come to Arizona. But he would always tell me that USC was a special place. And if I ever got the opportunity to go to USC, I'm an alum of Arizona, but if you ever get the opportunity to go to USC, go to USC. So
what happened on that recruiting trip? I want to know.
Oh, man. That recruiting trip was my last recruiting trip. I went to Stanford. I loved Stanford, everything they were doing in the early 80s, and John Elway had played there, and I was a big fan of Elway. And his dad actually was the head coach of Stanford when I was coming out of high school. And when I went to Stanford, because I was a baseball player too, so I wanted to play baseball and football. And Stanford had a great baseball program as well. And I remember Jack Elway, John's dad, convinced John to take me around campus and take me around and hang out. So I was hanging out with John Elway, walking around Stanford campus. I was like, okay, I'm going to Stanford. This is great. They got great football. They got great baseball. This is where I want to be. I'm going. And then my last trip was to USC. And at USC, I got off the plane, and at that time, my dad had just transitioned from coaching at the University of Arizona to the Kansas City Chiefs. So it was his first year at the Kansas City Chiefs. So we moved to Kansas, and it was cold. It was freezing in Kansas City in January when I took my recruiting trip. And he said, just go. You got to go to USC, see what it's all about. Got off the plane, it's 72 degrees. And
That was it.
USC, and people don't know this, but Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator at USC at the time. Norv Turner, who went on and was offensive coordinator at Dallas, head coach at the Raiders and Washington and several other places. He picked me up from the airport in a big stretch black limousine.
Nice.
I got in the car,
Nice.
and there were 2 song girls in the car, Jamie.
Welcome, Rodney.
Yes,
Welcome to
yes,
LA.
100%. Welcome to LA. Welcome to USC. 2 song girls in the limo. We go to Marina Del Rey, have lunch.
Looking at the water, looking at the boats.
Looking at the water, the boats, the weather, song girls. Did I mention song girls?
You mentioned the song girls.
Okay, yeah, song girls. And by that night, I was signing with USC. It was done.
But they also...
I forgot about John Elway and Stanford and
You're like,
everything.
that was cool.
Mom, I love you. I love education. My mom was a teacher. She was like, I love it. You're going to Stanford. That's great. That's a great university and education, and I love it. I love it. I say, Mom, but USC had the song girls in the limo.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Come on, Mama.
Who would say no to that?
Come on. Come on.
But you kind of glaze over the fact that you were a baseball player
Yeah.
too. You were drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, in Arizona.
You were drafted
Arizona,
3 times, no?
Well, actually 4 times, but.
My bad.
Yeah, I know. Don't sell me short, James. Come on now. Arizona, the West Coast is big on baseball, and Arizona was a big baseball state. And one of my coach in Arizona was a legendary high school baseball coach. So I went to a really good baseball school in Arizona, a high school. And so out of high school, I got drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. But after I had committed to USC, I decided that I wasn't ready to just go into the baseball draft or do anything.
Toronto doesn't have song girls.
No, Toronto doesn't have song girls. There's minor leagues. You got to go through all that stuff. And I got a chance to play at USC and be on campus. So I decided to turn that down and go to USC.
Looking at, the choices in life, right?
Yeah.
If you could go back, do you think you would have liked to have had a baseball career?
Wow. That's
a lot of money in baseball.
That's interesting because, there's a lot more money, especially at that time. There's a lot more money in baseball. Your career is longer in baseball. I actually love baseball as much as I love football. But when I came out of high school, I was not ready to give football up. And then the idea of me playing quarterback at USC was really, really intriguing. And so I decided, I'm not ready for that. But then fast forward, I got drafted again when I was at USC because USC was one of the few schools that allowed me to play baseball and football. And so I played all the way through my college career. People think of me as just a football player, but I played baseball at USC and did pretty well at USC. In fact, I was ended up being one of All-Pac. At the time, it was all Pac-10. I don't know where it is now. It's Pac-2. So I don't know what it is anymore. It's Pac-nothing now. But I was a Pac-10 all-third baseman at USC, and I got drafted twice by the Oakland A's while I was at USC. And so there was a period of time should I just go play baseball? But
that minor league life is rough.
Yeah, that minor league life, I don't know if I really wanted that. And so I turned it down again and went on and decided to play football.
So fast forward, a few weeks ago, you had a chance to show off your baseball skills.
You had to bring that up.
I mean, listen, first of all, you were in the clear.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were. That was in your territory. Max Muncy had. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
Did you have any idea in the moment, this is gonna blow up?
Oh.
Did your phone immediately?
No idea in the moment. All I thought, first of all,
I gotta protect my wife.
First of all, Tokyo was an amazing experience.
I bet.
They created a section that was below the netting. So in the section that we were sitting, on the first base side and the third base side, they had 5 rows where there was no netting. Well, very low netting.
Yeah.
So they provided, which people don't know, they provided a glove and a helmet for everybody in every seat in that section. Because I got all kinds of emails and texts like, what are you doing bringing a glove to the game? What
You
are you,
nerd.
8?
Yeah,
what are you,
yeah.
8 years old? What are you, a nerd? What are you doing bringing a glove? So when I saw that, I told Holly, my wife, I said, listen, when there's a left-handed hitter up, be ready. Get off your phone, get off everything, and be ready because a foul ball can come our direction, and just be ready. And so every time a left-handed hitter came up, I had my glove on. I was ready. And sure enough, the first night, nothing happened. We were good. The second night, and it was Ian Happ comes up, and foul ball comes in our direction, and I tried to track it because at first I thought it was above us because it curved back and it came into our section, and when I caught it, Jamie, the look on Holly's face was, "What did you just do?"
Oh, really?
Yes, it
Not
wasn't like
my
thank you.
hero.
No, it was. Did you interfere with Max Muncy catching the ball?
I love Holly.
Oh, God. She was like, what did you do? Did you interfere? It's like, no, I just protected you. I caught the.
And then you caught Max's eye.
Then I saw Max, and he was like, from me to you, it's like, oh, my God, did I interfere?
No.
Did I interfere? And it took me looking at replays, almost real-time replays, going, thank God I didn't reach over into the field of play and catch it. And his reaction was like he was mad that somebody caught the ball. He didn't know it was me at the time. But then I did talk to him afterward, and he said he was mad that he got caught up in the netting and he couldn't reach over as far as he wanted to. I didn't reach over into the field of play. And if you saw it, I was below him on the foul ball. So I was underneath his glove. And thank God, because I was getting it from my wife. She was giving it to me, like, you interfered with the catch. And thank God the Dodgers got out of that inning.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I had to tell people, I said, listen, I did play a little baseball back in the day. I got some skills.
I still got it.
I got some skills, James. I got some skills, baby. Come on.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Tell me what else you do in Tokyo?
Oh, Tokyo was fantastic.
Yeah, sushi for days, right?
Oh, sushi for days, ramen for days. It was, first of all, Japan is an amazing country.
Was this your first time there?
No, I had been there a few times. Actually, my son is living in Tokyo. Yeah, my middle son, Robinson, is studying at Temple University, Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he graduated high school and at the end of the pandemic and was like, I don't know if I really am ready to go straight to college. So he wanted to take a gap year, and he found a great institute and
good for him.
Went there for 9 months and never came back. So he's been there for 3 years. So we got a chance to see him. The whole family went over, and we went to the Dodger games, and it was an amazing experience. But Japan itself is an amazing country. Tokyo is so clean and so amazing, and wherever you go, it's Otani.
Oh, I bet.
Everywhere you go.
What's the craziest thing you saw for Otani over there?
Oh, my God. He was cooking.
Cooking?
He was in a cooking commercial. Yeah, he does everything from perfume. Everybody sees the New Balance commercials, right? We see all those, who's got next, who we got now, all that kind of stuff. But he is in perfume, cooking. He's got software. He's got cleaning supplies.
Oh my gosh.
Everything you can think of, it's Otani everywhere. And the Dodgers, how amazing they are is that they understood this and they captured everything. They own Asia.
Oh, wow.
They own Asia.
Yeah.
They really do. I felt bad for the Cubs. The Cubs they played
Don't
the Cubs
feel
over
bad
there.
for the Cubs.
I know the Cubs beat us in this last couple of, this last series, but it was 99% Dodgers and 1% Cubs.
They had to know that was coming.
They did.
We don't
They
feel
did.
bad for them.
They did.
So Peete family vacation in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But you get to see the world quite a bit.
I do.
With your friend Magic?
I do.
On that yacht every summer? You guys go way back.
You bursted that bubble.
But everybody sees it. I love Jimmy Kimmel makes fun.
Yeah.
He photoshops him and
He
his wife
does.
in with
He
the
does.
family, the group photos every night on the boat.
Yeah, he does.
Who
And he
comes
cuts
up
me
with-
out. Jimmy.
He cuts you out to put himself in?
Everybody who travels on the boat, he takes me out of it and puts himself in it.
That's wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong.
That is
Jimmy.
wrong.
That's wrong.
But
Jimmy.
you know what? You're actually on the boat.
I
So.
know.
Who comes up with the itinerary? Are you like, hey, Magic, this year I'd like to do this?
I have no
Just show up?
input on the itinerary.
Do you even have to pack your
show
bags
up.
for this, or that they send someone to pack your bags for you?
Well, listen, I pack my own bags, but it is one of the most luxurious trips that you could ever think about because he takes care of everything. If you know Magic, and he is like he was when he was a player, that he controls everything. He runs the show. So even on those trips, when we go overseas on the yacht, and he's been doing it for 40 years now, and started small, and now he's on the big boy yacht now, and he invites. What's cool about it is that he invites his friends on the yacht, and we're not the only ones that go. So he's out there for 6 weeks. There's 6 weeks of different people that get on, different couples that get
Samuel
on.
L. Jackson,
Yeah.
LL Cool J. Trust me,
Yeah,
I see.
all that,
I
all
just want to
that.
know how I get an
You
invite.
get on, you get off, and then there's another 6 couples that get on,
Yeah.
and he spreads the wealth really well, and he takes care of everything.
Who comes up with the theme nights? You guys have like dress up
He does.
nights. Yeah.
Magic controls everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he controls everything. Whether it's the theme nights, whether it's where we're going to dinner, whether we're traveling to Sicily, or we're going to Portofino, or we're going to Croatia. Last summer, we had a chance to go to Montenegro and Croatia, and we got a chance to hang out with Vlade Divac, which was really cool to see those two reconnect and talk about stories, about them being a Laker, and Vlade talking about Magic and how hard he was on him and how he treated him like a little brother, basically. And to see those two interact basically in Vlade's country was really incredible and really special because they have a bond. They really have a really true bond that Vlade treasures to this day. And so does Magic.
I'm sure. That's
Yeah.
pretty special.
Yeah.
When Magic's walking through Europe, I mean, he's a hard guy to miss.
Yeah.
Is his
At
popularity
6'9".
just
He is he's the Pied Piper, you know. And at that time, you know, summertime in south of France, south of Italy, there's a lot of celebrities that go and hang out there. I don't know if there's a bigger person than Magic because he's been there and goes back to the same places on a regular basis. And they appreciate that. They really do, that he goes to the same restaurants and really engages with the people. And he could be a guy that says, no autographs, nothing, I don't want to do anything.
That's not
but
him.
We were at dinner one night last year in Italy at a very kind of popular restaurant, and word got out that he was at the restaurant, and so about 500 kids came.
500?
Yes, at least 500 kids came, and the restaurant's like, you know, you guys stay outside, and the kids were like clamoring to wait to see Magic and all of that, and the owners were like, let's just walk you out the back, and you don't have to see anybody. We just get you to your yacht, and we'll be good. And he was like, no, I'm gonna go see the kids. He signed every autograph, took pictures with all of those kids, and first of all, like you said, at 6'9", he's hard to miss, but they love him over there. They love him over there because he gives everybody time.
And then you're like, hey, I played 16 years in the NFL.
They don't care. I'm the bodyguard, James. I'm the bodyguard. And he loves that, though. I am. I'm like, okay, it's time to go. Okay, no, this person, no. We got to So I am actually the bouncer, the bodyguard. Yeah. And nobody cares. Nobody knows about football in Europe, right?
Magic,
it's all about basketball. It's all about magic. Magic.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
it's all about magic. Yeah.
But now, is it true that Magic kind of took you under his wing when you were at SC?
Yeah, I met him at SC. In fact, the late, great Jerry Buss, USC guy, and he would be on our sidelines. And that was one of the first things that I noticed when I first got to USC is like, wait a minute, that's Jerry Buss on the sidelines. He owns the Lakers. He's the guy. And so he would come on the sidelines, and then he would bring some of the players on the sidelines. And the first time I met Magic was during the game, and Magic was on the sideline with Jerry Buss, and I got to shake his hand and got to meet him, and it was the most amazing thing I ever saw because I was a big fan.
Yeah.
I was a big fan when he was at Michigan State, and then when I got to SC, I was like, wow, this is real. And SC at that time too was a place where a lot of celebs would be on the sideline. I didn't care about anybody else. It was about Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Magic was on the sidelines. And then when I started to make a name for myself and started playing later, he started to recognize me, and we started to talk more and more. And I got invited to Laker games, and I would go to Laker games, and then I would see him, after games. I would see him before the games, and Jerry Buss, I would get to go to dinner with him. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that I would go and be in. Remember, Jamie, you're too young, but the Forum Club.
I've heard stories.
You're young. The Forum Club, I don't care what anybody says. In LA, there's a lot of places in LA to go now. But the Forum Club in the 80s was better than any nightclub, any restaurant, anything you could think of. If you got into the Forum Club, that was great.
That was the stuff.
That was it. And Jerry Buss was a USC guy and let me in the Forum Club. And I got to see him. I got to see Magic. I got to hang out with him. And in fact, what's crazy is that I got to know him, but my wife, Holly, knew him separately than I. And so when we started dating, he kind of was the one that said, oh yeah, he's okay for you. And
he vouched for you.
He vouched for me.
Look at that.
He vouched for me.
Yeah.
And so had he not vouched for me and told her that I was like the wrong person, I don't know if we'd be married.
Yeah. Was it Holly's mom that set you guys up?
No, no. We met in LA again. LA's small, but it's big. But we met at a restaurant that also had R&B music.
Oh, nice.
And so it was a popular place at the time, and we sat down at the same table, and we started talking, and there was a very bad performer that was performing, and we bonded over going how bad she was. Yeah. And she, what I love, Jamie, is that she didn't care about me or who I was or anything like that because she was eating everything in front of me. And women, a lot of times you go on a date with a woman, they don't want to eat in front of you. They want to be like, oh, I'll eat a salad. Oh, dainty. Yeah. She was eating French fries and chicken and everything and grease on her face and everything was all over the place.
You're like,
and
that's my
it's
girl.
like, that's my girl. She's not afraid to eat.
Yeah.
So it worked out.
I love the Holly and Rodney success story. I mean, because you guys, it's hard to make it in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And you guys have both had full careers and been in the spotlight, and you've been together over 30 years.
30 years, yeah. We're celebrating 30 years this year.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's the secret to success?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Pick your battles?
I mean, it is pick your battles, and the cliche is communication and all that. But I think from the very beginning, we were on the same page. And if you're not from the very beginning, you're going to eventually run into problems. I mean, we knew how many kids we wanted. We knew we wanted to have a big family. and we have 4 kids, which are beautiful. They're range from 27 to 19. But we understood the goals from the very beginning. So it was, and I also think that we didn't get married till we kind of had established ourselves. So I wasn't 21 when we got married. I was 29 and she was 30. And so we had some life, you know, in front of us. And again, we talked to a third party. We went to therapy talking about what to expect in a marriage. What do you want? You know, and how do you want to get along? And we were like, if we're going to do this, we have to be on the same page. And we decided to do that.
Who gave you that advice to go to therapy before you got married?
She suggested it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're glad you did.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. And to this day, I'm thankful that I have a great therapist that I can go to about anything, whether it be about during my playing days in football, my kids, or anything that happens. It's important to talk to a third party. It really is. Because if you bottle things up and you don't get a different perspective on what's going on in your life, you can't handle it on your own. You really can't. And so before we got married, we went to marriage counseling and we talked about what our expectations were and what the boundaries were. And it laid it all out. If you can't handle this, then we don't need to get married. But if you can, let's work this out and let's continue this. And so it's worked for us. And we've had the same therapist for 30 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So your therapist is celebrating 30-year anniversary too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, that's the greatest Yelp review you can that you can give someone.
100%.
So here we are 30 years later.
We love you, Sharon. We love you.
The other thing I remember when I first started working with you 20 years ago, you and Holly were very open about your son RJ, who was diagnosed with autism. And that was one of the first times that I had heard of autism and a celebrity couple talking about it. You know, April's Autism Awareness Month. We've come a long way, haven't we, in that discussion?
100%,
yeah.
Jamie.
Well, thanks in part to you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because when we got our diagnosis back in 2000, nobody was talking about it, like you mentioned. Certainly, there were no people of notice or celebrity people talking about autism, and it was also, you know, it was one of those things that was lumped into everything. Okay, it's autism, or it's ADHD, or it's ADD. We didn't really know what it was, and after our son RJ was diagnosed at 3, we dove in, and it took a toll on me and our marriage because I was in denial about it. First of all, I didn't know what it was. And I was told that, oh, he'll eventually grow out of it. It'll be fine and no big deal. And, you know, a lot of kids are slow to develop, but there was this thing called autism that nobody was talking about. And Holly was the one that jumped in with both feet going, because she had that mommy gut going, something's off with our son. We gotta really get him therapy. We really gotta dive into this. And she did. And it took me a minute to get involved. And it really put a strain on our marriage because she was like, you gotta be on the same page with me or this is not gonna work because it's all about our son now. And he struggled. And there was a period of time when he was nonverbal. And for me, I had all these plans for my son. You know, as an athlete, you're like, okay, I want him to follow in my footsteps. I want him to go to USC. I want him to play football. I want him to do all these things. And he couldn't communicate.
Yeah. Well, didn't they tell you he might not talk at all?
Oh, yeah. We went through a thing we call the Never Day, where when we got him diagnosed, there was a developmental pediatrician that said, okay, so he'll you got to take him out of school. You got to get him 40 hours of therapy a week. He's not, just get ready for this, because he's not going to be a normal kid. He's not going to graduate high school. He's not going to go to mainstream schools. He's not going to drive. He's probably not going to have a job. You know, his interaction with you is going to deteriorate. He's not going to look you in the eye. Probably not going to have any friends. And he's probably not going to look at you and tell you he loves you and have any kind of real human connection with you for the rest of his life. And I'm like, he's 3 years old. Mm-hmm. How do you tell me that? Mm-hmm. How? And I didn't believe it. And so I went to the mode of, I'm going to coach him, because my dad was a coach. And he worked with me in the backyard, and I'm going to coach it out of him. Holly was like, okay, I got to read every book, every journal, every magazine, every article about autism. I'm going to talk to everybody. And she educated herself. And we look up today, Jane, and I don't want to fast forward, but I'm fast forwarding because he's been working now for the Dodgers for 10 years. And graduated high school. He drives. He's got his own place.
He's got World Series rings.
He's got a World Series, 2 of them. He's got World Series rings. He's got his own employment. He makes his own money. And he talks about us, and he says, I love you, on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all those things that she said he would never do. So for everyone out there that think there's no hope, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, I'm telling you, don't ever give up, because work at it, believe in yourself, believe in your child, because there is no limit to what kids can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a family member also
Yeah.
with an autistic son, and the father had a hard time, in those early stages. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of denial. That's a common thing.
Right.
But correct me if I'm wrong, from what you know a lot more than I do, but treating it and acknowledging it and starting to work and work with the therapy and everything is probably so crucial, especially early on.
100%.
Yeah.
Especially for men. I mean, men sometimes, like I did, have this idea, especially when it's a son dealing with autism, you have an idea that this is what I want my son to be. Mm-hmm. And you have to really get out of that mode and understand that you have to look at the world through your child's eyes, mm-hmm. as opposed to your eyes, mm-hmm. what you want for them. And once you start doing that, it's like, how does he see the world? What is he looking at? What is he feeling? And get out of the selfish mode that you're in, then you will have a better relationship with your son. And until I did that with my son, it took a minute for me to have a relationship with him. And when I did that, we now have the best relationship in the world.
What did he say about you catching that foul ball?
Oh.
Was he embarrassed?
Oh my God. First he was like, okay, he knew it. Because everybody was in Japan. He knew, because he didn't go. He stayed back to get ready. The clubhouse was being remodeled and all that stuff. So he was getting ready for the team to come back. And he's like, Dad, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it bad from the players. And sure enough, they did. As soon as they got back, every one of them killed it. RJ, what was your dad doing? RJ, what is your dad interfering with Max? RJ, what in the world? And he had the perfect response. It's like, all he was doing was protecting my mom. It's all he was doing, protecting my mom. So it was great. And the best part is that he's got that level with them where they treat him like a little brother.
Yeah.
And it's, Jamie, when I tell you, it is the best thing in the world when your child is accepted, and the Dodgers have accepted him as a family member, and they are, without a doubt, the best organization in sports. And I can say that proudly. And I played for 6 different NFL teams, and I know different organizations are out there, but there's no better organization than the Dodgers, because they accepted him and they take care of him, and the players love him, and they created an environment that it is welcoming for everyone. Not just my son, but for everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that Rodney Peete's not immune to embarrassing his child.
Oh, no, I do that on a regular basis.
Thank you so much, Rodney. I appreciate your time.
James, all love, baby. I love you.
Love you too.
You
Good
too.
to see you.
Yep.